looks good, right?
It does.
When's stuff gonna start, Carrie?
I don't know. Check with the program director.
Oh, I
Stops fading, but I live there all day, still craving your kiss.
A lot of people are very anxious to see some of our monkeys that are out here, and we have the University of Georgia monkeys right behind us. So if we want to get a group of maybe 8 to 10 people, maybe 12 that would like to go over for a tour, everybody meet at that table right there. Sarah, wave your hands around.
This first habitat is who's home? This is Nick. Nick is 20 years old, and Nick is one of the smartest monkeys at UVA. Nick used to live with Leo, who you will meet, but he and Leo, I guess, had an argument. Fell out. So he lives by himself right now. We may try to get him with Mickey over here because they are friendly. Go ahead.
I know it's in there, but what is the provision for the water?
Water, they have a Lixit. If you look over on to the right of the hut, they push it. The water comes on. Yeah. Some of them will stick a stick in it and just let it run all day.
All right.
And make a mud pie.
Okay.
They will bathe themselves in it. Next we have the uncle and nephew, Xavier, who will be smaller, and Joby. Before we go to them, this is what they lived in. Wow. They could go, if there were 2 of them, they could go top and bottom. This is what they lived in full time. This was used to, they would go into here, take the box out to take them in where they would do the behavioral research on them. And when we moved them out here, we used this box. They were trained to just walk into it, and you would take the box.
I just cannot believe the incredible strength and courage and resilience. How she overcame, she is Carrie, is who I'm talking about, how Carrie overcame so many challenges that most of us would just kind of say, it's probably just not meant to be. And there was never a moment, and I remember really, really big challenges that she just didn't rise up again. So I think she's also a phoenix. I am so happy to see so many people here, and I know more are coming, and so many people are out there. I just came from touring. I don't know if you all have done that, but believe me, when you do, you're going to just want to hang out there. Just the smiles, and when they look you in the eyes, some of these monkeys, you just know. And the thought that some of them have been 20 years in little containers about the size of this sound box, and now they have the freedom to just socialize and eat good food and have the sunshine. And we were told that many of them come here really, really white, and they're tan. Now they look like what they are supposed to look like. It's pretty amazing. So I am with the River Phoenix Center for Peace Building. It's an organization I started with my husband about 3 years ago. And our work is to prevent and interrupt and heal from violence in all forms. And I believe that almost all of us here are peace builders, and I certainly know that Carrie is an incredible peace builder, because it's very hard for some of us to separate our humanity and the sentient beings that deserve to live on this planet in peace, as much peace as possible. I mean, obviously, none of us are at peace. We're stressed about this, we're stressed about that. We don't have the same threats that other people do around the world. We're pretty privileged, I think, and certainly privileged even compared to some of the other human beings that live right here in Gainesville, that are constantly fighting for their lives, whether they're hungry or homeless or abused or whatever. And then there's the sentient beings, the monkeys and all the other animals that somehow we've decided that we are masters of, and we can do whatever we want with. So I appreciate your being here, whether it's your first time or you're an ongoing supporter, to take a step into that place of deep humanity and expansiveness that everyone deserves to resolve conflicts and live a healthy and prosperous life. So I welcome you all, you wonderful peace builders of Gainesville, whether you're a teacher or a social worker or a trash collector or a therapist or a dentist or a vet, or, no matter what we do, wherever we are able, capable, and called upon to be the best version of that. And so thank you so much for being here. And we're going to, if you look at this place and you say, well, they don't really need support. They've got it more together than any system I've ever seen. I mean, you take a look at that. But it's an ongoing thing, because more and more monkeys are coming. They heard the news. All right, thank you so much. Enjoy the day.
Okay, so we're going to talk about our miracle monkeys. And we have two of our vets here today who are going to tell you a lot more than I can tell you about what was going on with the monkeys, who've had amazing recoveries and amazing miracles. And of course, we're doing our ribbon cutting for the Bob Barker Medical Clinic. And Bob Barker, I just heard from them last week, and he regrets that he wasn't able to make it today. But he really loves being able to serve the special needs monkeys that are being served in our new clinic here. So, and that's how we got this beautiful new clinic and from Bob Barker. So we love Bob Barker. So anyway, I would like to bring, where's Carla? There's Carla. Carla, would you like to come up and tell a little bit about your participation here at Jungle Friends, our volunteer vet, and about some of the miracles that she has helped with?
Thank you, Carrie. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for helping us come to celebrate our Monkey Miracle Day here at Jungle Friends. Carrie wanted me to talk to you today about some of the monkey medical miracles that I personally have witnessed here at Jungle Friends. And that gave me so much material that I've been working hard all week trying to condense a 40-minute talk into 20 minutes or less. Yesterday I got the text message that said, you got 10 minutes. So I have slashed and burned the content of this talk, and I'm just going to dive right in. I am Carla Haddix, and I am a local veterinarian. And back in 2013, last year, I had the unique opportunity to work here full-time at Jungle Friends for a period of about 8 months. And during that time, I had lots of hands-on experience with these monkeys. For the most part, I found that they were very sturdy, tough little animals. They really don't suffer much from medical problems, but when they do ever get sick or injured, they also show a remarkable, some might even say miraculous, ability to recover. So I'm going to share just a couple cases with you. I had more, but again, I had to condense this. So let me tell you about Chi-Chi, a miracle monkey. She is a female white-fronted capuchin. And she is now 49 to 50 years old, which is a miracle in itself. In the wild, they live about 15 to 25 years and up to 45 years in captivity, I read. Well, she's 49 or 50, so she's already exceeded that lifespan by quite a margin. She had been a circus performer, and she retired to Jungle Friends way back in 1995. That was still back in Las Vegas, right? So when I was first here working full-time, the first week on the premises, I was being led around and introduced to all the monkeys by name. And when we got to Chi-Chi, somebody said that she had been diagnosed with malignant cancer a year prior. And I looked at her and I was very skeptical because I thought, well, you know, she's elderly and she's thin, but she looked pretty good to me. I knew she wasn't on any kind of medication or treatment. So honestly, I was kind of skeptical. I had to go back to the clinic and look up her medical record to really see if that was correct. And sure enough, I found out that on record, in July 2012, she had gone to see Dr. Shermer at West End Animal Hospital, and he took a tumor and an adjacent lymph node off of her chest and sent them to a board-certified veterinary pathologist. And his report came back with this diagnosis, quote, mammary carcinoma with metastasis to the regional lymph node, unquote. Now, you don't have to be a doctor to know that that's some bad news right there. But the pathologist went on to say, quote, this appears to be a very aggressive tumor, unquote. If I had that report in hand and that was about a dog or a cat patient of mine, I would have given that animal maybe 3 to 6 months to live unless some aggressive treatment was done. And I just walked by Chi-Chi on the way down here to talk to her and visit her. This diagnosis now was made more than 2 years ago, and Chi-Chi is still her feisty old self, and I don't see anything wrong with her. So in my book, that qualifies as a medical miracle. Yeah, I'm skipping the content I have no time for. So just one other I'll tell you about.
Take your time.
Who is Bongo. And Bongo is a male brown capuchin monkey. He's 29 years old, so he's pretty elderly too. He spent the first 20 years of his life in a medical research laboratory or some kind of research lab, and he retired to Jungle Friends in 2005. So he is an older monkey. He had been kind of stiff and arthritic for a while, and we were giving him glucosamine and some herbal supplements. But despite that, early this year, in February 2014, he was deteriorating and just getting worse and worse to the point where he finally couldn't walk at all. He became completely paralyzed in his legs, and he was dragging himself along the ground with his arms. So in March, he went to see Dr. Shermer and got x-rays, and Dr. Shermer diagnosed him with severe arthritis in both knees and his spine. Then he went to the University of Florida, to the veterinary college and the specialists in the zoo medicine department, where he got an exam, and he was also given an MRI, which just goes to show that no expense is spared at Jungle Friends to provide any kind of diagnostics or treatment that is available for these monkeys. So he had all that done, and the MRI also showed that he had multiple severe ruptured discs in his spine. And the worst thing of all was that on his physical exam, they found that he had no deep pain reflex. That's a very significant finding. The deep pain reflex is the last thing to be lost in a spinal cord injury. So you could have a spinal cord injury where you wouldn't be able to move your legs, you would have lost your motor ability, but if somebody came along with a pair of pliers and stuck it on your toe and pinched real hard, you might still have enough innervation to get that pain signal up to your brain. You might not be able to pull your leg away, but you would still say, ouch! That's the deep pain reflex. And as I say, it's the last thing to go in a spinal cord injury and that indicates that the injury is very severe and irreversible. So all these experts kind of wrote him off. They said he'll never walk again and his quality of life will be poor. So of course they recommended euthanasia. But I think Carrie had probably seen enough monkey miracles over the years to know not to give up on him so soon. So Bongo came back to Jungle Friends and they set up his outdoor habitat with extra padding, lots of pine straw bedding on the floor of the habitat, and they lowered his food and water and all his resting places. And nobody really expected him to get up and walk again, but she thought, well, maybe we can see how he does as a paraplegic. After all, Jersey had just completed his miracle recovery. So we took a wait-and-see approach, and this was in March of this year. He was put on several painkillers and anti-inflammatory drugs and still glucosamine. And the weeks went by, and one day somebody said, hey, I think I saw Bongo moving his leg. And a few more days went by, and we saw more movements in Bongo's legs. And so slowly he just got better and better. Then he started pulling himself up on the side of the habitat and propping himself up in a standing position. And he just kept improving, and by June he was walking again. He's moving both of his legs independently. He's walking just as well as he was before that prognosis was given. So he's another miracle monkey and another example of just the miracles that happen here routinely. If you like monkey miracles, please visit the excellent website, junglefriends.org, because it's full of other miracle stories. Thank you very much.
Hi, everybody. Okay. I'm Dr. Shermer, Fred Shermer. I work at West End Animal Hospital. We met Carrie when she needed a in-house facility that performed surgery and medical care for the monkeys that needed to be seen. Unfortunately, a lot of freestanding practices won't see monkeys because of the somewhat rambunctious nature of their care. So I've worked with monkeys before and said, sure, we'll be happy to see them. So whenever one is sick or injured, they put it in one of those little squeeze cages, bring it over, and we take a good look at it. And so a lot of the monkeys here, whenever they have less than stellar social interactions and decide they want to bite each other in the finger or get into a fight or something like that, I get to see them, and then we repair tears, and sometimes we have to amputate a digit now and then when the finger gets too badly damaged. Monkeys, unfortunately, being as dexterous as they are, they're really bad at picking at their wounds, so we have to be really careful about how well we repair them, that they don't come back here and say, hey, watch me rip this open, and there's a whole other problem. And a lot of the boys have come there to get vasectomized. Neutering them isn't really good for them. It changes their personality, unfortunately, and they don't do well in social settings, so they need to keep their hormone levels, but at the same time, we don't want any new monkeys floating around, so we have to, that's their form of birth control. Jersey, as Dr. Haddix mentioned earlier, was one of the medical miracles, surgical miracles we dealt with. He came originally from Kentucky. He was seen by a veterinarian in Kentucky for self-mutilation. Unfortunately, that's a big problem with a lot of the captive monkeys who are originally kept as pets, but as they reach puberty and young adulthood, they have a hard time being pets anymore, and they become very aggressive towards their owners. They start to damage themselves, chewing at themselves, picking at their hands and feet. Jersey was doing this, and the veterinarian that saw him in Kentucky thought it would be a good idea if he put bandages on his hands and feet to keep him from picking at himself. And unfortunately, that caused a tourniquet situation, especially in his feet, and he ended up losing some fingernails on his hands from damage done there. but the damage done to his feet with his poor circulation is really what caused him to have a lot of problems. And when he initially came to see me, he didn't have any blood flow to either one of his feet, and we were really concerned about what to do with him. I had contacted some of the surgeons at the University of Florida. We were trying to see about maybe doing some skin grafts and some tissue reconstruction to save his feet. I was really concerned about how well Jersey would do in a captive but open sanctuary environment if he was an amputee. And of course, they said it couldn't be done. They wrote him off. They said he needed to be euthanized. We initially tried just removing a few toes, but the damage was really poor, and he kept losing more and more of his tissue. I finally contacted a orthopedic surgeon with a freestanding referral practice in town, affiliated veterinary services, and their surgeon was willing to work with me, and we were able to save about half of Jersey's left foot. Unfortunately, we lost his his right leg, and we were concerned that this would be a problem for him, being a three-legged monkey with only half a foot. He wouldn't be able to climb or get around, and this would cause more anxiety problems for him. But Jersey bounced right back, and you can see him today on the tour. He is just running around having a grand old time. He does use his tail as an extra limb now, and he's learned to essentially walk on his knee on his left leg, and he just folds his leg in and instead of trying to bear weight on his foot. But he does quite well, and he hasn't had a problem since, hasn't looked back. So that's another one of the medical miracles here.
When I was asked to be a part of this, certainly I knew the gravity and the importance of us looking at ways to have a sanctuary to comfort the lives of those monkeys that have been used to test for diseases, to test for the people in large organizations that have used these monkeys for years, in some cases decades, and to have a sanctuary and know the importance of that. And I looked into it and read about it, and I was so humbled and honored to be a part of it. I think it's encouraging that we look at ways to encourage people and organizations who benefit from the research, as well as what has happened by these monkeys in their early years, is to look at creative ways and funding mechanisms to bring them at a place that they can retire and live in some level of peace and a level of dignity and comfort. And I think that's what this brings to the table. And knowing that and having read about it and talked with everyone about this process, I decided to get involved, and I will continue to be involved and continue with these efforts because it's such an important cause to do what you all are doing. And I'm proud to be a part of it, and such honor to Jungle Friends and what you all are doing. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of it. Thank you so much.
What's next, Adrian? Oh, she's coming. There she comes. Is it time for our ribbon cutting?
It is time for the ribbon cutting.
Okay, so we are going to do the ribbon cutting on the new clinic. So we've already done several vasectomies in there, so it's been used quite a bit right now. And it's continuing to be used, but we're going to do the official ribbon cutting right now. So we're going to get that set up.
Are these left-handed scissors? We're both left-handed.
Uh-oh. Okay. Da-da-da. Woo!